I have worshipped woman as the living embodiment of the spirit of service and sacrifice. We win justice quickest by rendering justice to the other party. I took the vow of celibacy in 1906. I had not shared my thoughts with my wife until then, but only consulted her at the time of making the vow. She had no objection. A principle is the expression of perfection, and as imperfect beings like us cannot practice perfection, we devise every moment limits of its compromise in practice. Nonviolence and truth are inseparable and presuppose one another. Violent men have not been known in history to die to a man. They die up to a point. We do not need to proselytize either by our speech or by our writing. We can only do so really with our lives. Let our lives be open books for all to study. We may have our private opinions, but why should they be a bar to the meeting of hearts? I know, to banish anger altogether from one's breast is a difficult task. It cannot be achieved through pure personal effort. It can be done only by God's grace. I do all the evil I can before I learn to shun it. Is it not enough to know the evil to shun it? If not, we should be sincere enough to admit that we love evil too well to give it up. I claim that human mind or human society is not divided into watertight compartments called social, political, and religious. All act and react upon one another. It is any day better to stand erect with a broken and bandaged head than to crawl on one's belly, in order to be able to save one's head. It is my own firm belief that the strength of the soul grows in proportion as you subdue the flesh. Nonviolence is the article of faith. Nonviolence, which is the quality of the heart, cannot come by an appeal to the brain. Let everyone try and find that as a result of daily prayer he adds something new to his life, something with which nothing can be compared. Though we may know him by 1,000 names, he is one and the same to us all. I will far rather see the race of man extinct than that we should become less than beasts by making the noblest of God's creation, woman, the object of our lust. A weak man is just by accident. A strong but non-violent man is unjust by accident. A vow is a purely religious act which cannot be taken in a fit of passion. It can be taken only with a mind purified and composed and with God as witness. The pursuit of truth does not permit violence on one's opponent. What is true of the individual will be tomorrow true of the whole nation if individuals will but refuse to lose heart and hope. I am a humble but very earnest seeker after truth. Violent means will give violent freedom. That would be a menace to the world and to India herself. One's own religion is after all a matter between oneself and one's maker and no one else's. If cooperation is a duty, I hold that non-cooperation also under certain conditions is equally a duty. It is the duty of every thoughtful Indian not to marry. In case he is helpless in regard to marriage, he should abstain from sexual intercourse with his wife. I claim to be a simple individual liable to err like any other fellow mortal. I own, however, that I have humility enough in me to confess my errors and to retrace my steps. There is no principle worth the name if it is not wholly good. Just as a man would not cherish living in a body other than his own, so do nations not like to live under other nations, however noble and great the latter may be. I would heartily welcome the union of East and West provided it is not based on brute force. Morality is contraband in war. Are creeds such simple things like the clothes which a man can change at will and put on at will? Creeds are such for which people live for ages and ages. Every formula of every religion has in this age of reason, to submit to the acid test of reason and universal assent. Unwearied ceaseless effort is the price that must be paid for turning faith into a rich infallible experience. Let not the 12 million Negroes be ashamed of the fact that they are the grandchildren of slaves. There is dishonor in being slave owners.